This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 670 of Horse Tip Daily. A different horse tip, a different equine topic, a different equestrian expert every day. Horse Tip Daily brings the world of equine knowledge to you, one day at a time. Today's tip is brought to you by EquestrianCollections.com. Hi, Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily. Today's tip is an excerpt from the Driving Radio Show, episode number 50. Glenn and Wendy talk about the conception vessel. This tip is a lot more than broodmares with fertility issues. The conception vessel influences many areas of your horse's good health. But first, let's hear from Equestrian Collections.
Hi, Glenn, back with you from the Horse Radio Network. I'm here with Debbie with the Equestrian Collections Product of the Week.
I have the coolest new product I have seen in a while. It's from SSG Gloves, and it's the Grand Prix Cellmate Gloves. Clever name, because these gloves have those little tips on the fingers, that you can actually use your cell phone while you're riding. I think that's a huge safety feature, especially for trail riders. If your cell phone's ringing and you've got to get your gloves off with your teeth, and you drop your glove and you drop your cell, it's terrible.
We've all done that too.
Are perfect. You can just pull your cell out and you can use them without messing with your gloves, and they're pretty. They fit like a glove. They fit very well, nice, and they're not loose. They look like any other real riding glove, only they've got these cool little tips on the fingers. They're absolutely, I highly recommend them. I have bought one immediately when I saw them. In fact, I had said to my husband over the holidays, I said, somebody ought to come out with some riding gloves so I can use my cell phone when I'm in the saddle. And bingo, SSG must have heard me, because they came out with these. They're now available. We've been waiting for them for a while. So order them quick, because I think they're going to sell out fast.
And I love the name too, Cellmate Gloves.
I know. Very, very clever.
And is this a summer glove, Debbie?
Well, they're kind of an all-season glove, but they're like suede-y feeling.
Okay.
They're not, they have the mesh on the fingers, but they're actually feel and look like suede, so that you can actually wear them, and to show if you wanted to. They're hunter, jumper, event, dressage, anything, because they're black, and you can wear them with anything. I did not find them to be very hot, because they do have some vents on the back, but they are suede, so they're actually leather-type gloves.
All right, terrific. And you can find them just by going to EquestrianCollections.com and typing in cell, C-E-L-L, mate, and that's the only thing that will come up.
Right.
And that's it.
It's not prison.
That's right. EquestrianCollections.com.
Thank you, Glenn.
And now, on with today's tip.
Okay, so we're talking about ovaries today, Wendy. No?
Not really.
Oh, okay.
We're talking about the conception vessel, which it's a meridian that does start in the ovaries, or in your case, Glenn, the testicles.
Okay. That's good to know.
Now, that wasn't swearing. I'm just talking about your anatomical body parts.
I said that's good to know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, the conception vessel, I talked about the governing vessel before, right?
Yes.
So that's it runs along the midline of the back. This conception vessel is its partner. It runs along the midline of the front. So the governing vessel is where all the yang meridians meet. The conception vessel is where all the yin meridians meet. So the yin is the female side, the dark side, the inside part. Because, there's a yin and yang, right? So the conception vessel also on horses.
Okay, before you go too much further,
What?
There's one thing I heard in that whole couple sentences.
I know what you're going to say.
The female was the dark side. That's what I heard.
I didn't make it. Okay, I'm not the man. I'm just working for the man. I didn't make this up.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
But also, you can look at it like this. Like
Okay.
the yin organs are the solid organs, like they have the substance. Women have the substance. The men are hollow. Do you like that better?
No, but the women will.
Okay, and the reason I said dark is like when you look at that little picture of the yin and yang, right? The white swoosh is the yang, and the black swoosh is the yin.
Okay.
And then there's a little dot of yin in the yang and a little dot of yang in the yin. That's the balance.
Okay.
That's what that means.
Got it.
Not dark side like Star Wars, although I do like that. So anyways, since it runs along the midline, in horses, we don't use a lot of the conception vessel points. Many of the points we use are alarm points.
For acupuncture.
For acupuncture.
Right.
Yeah, because, you know what?
So this would be under the chest and down the belly?
Right. So, okay, it starts in the ovaries or testes.
Okay.
It exits in the perineal area, which is like... I'm not going to describe it.
Yeah.
It's your personal area, okay? So you can look it up if you don't know where that is. Then it runs down along the front of your pelvis and then up through your belly button, past your chest on the midline, and then up through your
So the same with the horse, under the front legs and up
And
the
then it ends-
bottom of the neck?
Right.
Okay.
And then it ends at the chin.
So we don't do acupuncture down there too much because...
Because I don't want to get kicked.
Okay. That's a good answer.
Have you ever tried to clip your horse underneath there?
Yes. I'm just asking.
Yeah, I mean, God, Glenn. If you want to get kicked, you go ahead and acupuncture down there. The perineal area is enough danger for me, and so but those points can be really powerful because on the midline, just like I said with the governing vessel. So when you're affecting there, you're affecting the local point, but then you also can be using those to connect to the other meridians, right? So you're looking confused.
So what if you were to acupuncture during this, along this line?
Yeah.
What's accomplished? What's it help?
Well, it's just like any other meridian. It can help, like different things for different points on the meridian. So, for example, one of the most common diseases I treat with the conception vessel is roaring.
Oh, really?
Because it's at the throat.
Yeah.
So you're treating the larynx. So I use electroacupuncture on the conception vessel, and then I attach it to points, other points on the neck. Or I can attach it to other points lower down, because roaring is related to the left laryngeal nerve, which takes a circuitous route around the aorta in the horse. And that's why it's always the left one that's paralyzed, because there's no aorta on the right side. So the right laryngeal nerve just goes straight there. The left one sometimes gets stretched. It's almost like Sweeney. But it paralyzes the cartilages, and then we use electroacupuncture to help restore the nerve.
And how effective is it for roaring?
It's really effective. It's probably 75% effective.
Really? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize
That's
that.
one of the most common reasons that we use acupuncture.
Wow, I didn't realize that either.
In racehorses, they use it a lot. And
Yeah.
that's probably one of the treatments that got acupuncture in horses more mainstream, because it does work very well. You know, like with dogs, one of the most popular treatments is for back paralysis, hind limb paralysis. So there are certain things where people are like, oh, I have no treatment. You can have tie-back surgery, or you can try acupuncture. And since it does respond really well to acupuncture, that really solidified us in the mainstream.
And why do you think you see it more? You see it a lot in thoroughbreds. Why do you think that is?
Well, they say that it's because their necks are longer. So a longer neck, that nerve has a better chance of getting an injury. Also, it could be genetic. One of the other things is that not everybody is going to pick that up. Like if you have a pleasure horse, it might be a roar, but maybe you don't know because you never push them. Mm-hmm. Like maybe you just walk around outside. So, maybe there's more incidents of it, of people doing something about it, because it really affects their performance.
Gotcha.
Sometimes you hear horses roaring and you see them like in hunters or whatever, and people maybe just don't do anything about it because their sport doesn't demand endurance. You're just out there doing short things.
Right.
So,
Interesting.
I don't know. This is my take on it. But the conception vessel meridian also, like I said, is for alarm points. So since it runs along the tummy, I use it for ulcers. Like that's a point that I check for ulcers all the time. That's also a point on the chest, so I can check for lung issues. Like that's my go-to alarm point for the lung meridian. And also for the heart. So the heart sits there in the chest. I'm not saying I stimulate the heart, but I can check the heart meridian, and the heart meridian is associated with emotional problems, and I get called out a lot for emotional issues in animals, because people, like behavior problems are also solved a lot with acupuncture or Chinese medicine rather than just Valium and Cheese Whiz, So there's a backstory to that. I'm not going to. I'll talk about that another time. Also, what's interesting about the conception vessel is that the belly button is a point that is forbidden in Chinese medicine to puncture.
Huh.
You are forbidden to puncture that.
Why is that?
It's just like tradition.
Huh.
But
it's like sacred?
You can moxa it. And moxa is the herb, and then use like heat with it. But it's forbidden to puncture that. So every time, and it's supposed to bring you bad luck. But every time I see a pierced belly button, I'm like, they don't know what they're in for. They've just cursed themselves. And it's probably something like if you're afraid to walk under a ladder or break a mirror. But still, I'm not going to chance it.
I never knew that.
Yeah, so don't ever pierce your belly button.
Yeah, I wasn't lining up for that one anyway.
You weren't?
No.
So there's another point on the lip. It's like the bottom of the lip. And remember I talked about the story about the governing vessel where the shock point on the upper lip for the downed horse. Well, on the lower lip, that point is used for seizure or emotional problems.
Okay.
So I've used it for that.
Now, being said it's the conception vessel, do you also do acupuncture for reproductive issues?
You can. Those points can be used for reproduction issues. For like the perineal area, you can use that for if they can't pee. Not if they're blocked, but if they have nerve damage where they can't urinate. Or you can use it for diarrhea. Then the points that I'm not going to ever acupuncture because I don't want to get kicked, that you can use those for fertility issues. So those kind of things.
Interesting.
But, the ones on and for dogs and people, we do that. Cats, I don't use the conception vessel either.
First of all, I don't think you should acupuncture a cat. Talk about taking your life into your own hands.
I do all laser with cats now, from far away.
Talk about dangerous. That's worse than getting kicked by a horse.
Right, exactly. But they can't. You can't tell them, look, I know it's going to hurt a little, but this is good for you.
Right. It doesn't work.
People and dogs, they rationalize that. But horses, you're not going to stick that needle there, my personal area.
Yeah. Yeah, I got news for you. You're not doing it to this person either.
Yeah, no, that's why I don't do people. Right there.
All right, well, that's the conception vessel.
The conception vessel.
And where can people learn more about that if they wanted to? I just search for it online.
Well, if I ever updated my blog, you could read about it there, but I was so bad about that. You have to help me. But you can definitely search for it online. There are really some great acupuncture sites, or you can go to tcvm.com. And there's some great links there. That's the traditional Chinese veterinary medicine site for Qi Institute.
Well, there you go. If you just cannot get enough of Wendy and Glenn, you can listen to them every week on the Driving Radio Show. Go to drivingradioshow.com. And don't forget to support our sponsors here on Horse Tip Daily because they make these podcasts possible. Today's podcast has been brought to you by EquestrianCollections.com. Just like Horse Tip Daily brings the whole world of equine knowledge to you, Equestrian Collections brings you the whole world of equine shopping to you. Check them out today at EquestrianCollections.com, and while you're there, tell them Coach Jen sent you. Please stop by the Horse Tip Daily Facebook page and let us know what you think of the tips you hear on the show. It's also a great place to tell us about topics you'd like to hear us cover on the show. You can subscribe to all the great shows on the Horse Radio Network through iTunes or Zune and get your horse podcasts automatically downloaded to your iPod, Zune, or MP3 player. You can also listen to the shows right on Facebook. The player's right there every day. I'll be back again tomorrow with another new expert and a different horse tip. Until then, go ride your horse! The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements of guests or their opinions. Use your own judgment when listening to the tips provided by the experts on Horse Tip Daily.